Welcome back to Clubhouse Chronicles, the place where the central Illinois music scene gets loud, proud, and unfiltered. I'm Twitt, your host with the most. We're just spinning you the stories, the sounds, and the struggles behind the bands that are making waves right here in your backyard. Clubhouse Chronicles is the official podcast of Broken Record Music Club, your favorite independent record label, bringing you music for whatever you are going through. With that, let's buckle on up, because this isn't just a podcast. It's your front row ticket to the heart of your indie music scene. Today, I'm really excited. I was telling our guest before the interview started that when I came in and was plotting and scheming on making Clubhouse Chronicles, I made a list of people that I wanted to sit down with and interview. And this guy was on there. He was one of the first people. He's one of the most seasoned artists coming out of Decatur, Illinois. He's been releasing music since 2015, but he hasn't stopped. This guy's a machine. He's just coming off the release of the lead single for his upcoming EP, Power Bill Blues. I'm talking about Caleb Jeffson, or as he is better known as, Marble Teeth. Welcome to the Clubhouse, Caleb.
It's great to be here. Amazing setup you've gotten here.
Thanks. We a little bit before the interview, what I like to do before every interview with our guests is I send them a little preview of the questions so they know kind of what they're getting into. And Caleb was surprised at his own stats. He didn't even know. So we're uncovering the deep lore of Marble Teeth here today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, let's crunch some numbers.
Let's get into it then. As I said in the intro, you've been making music for quite a long time now. And in my research, I dug deep into the archive, and I found that you started to record your own music at least in 2013. Not necessarily releasing anything, but you at least recorded something on your own in 2013. What led you to that point? What your background in music what made you pick up your instrument and be like, it's time for me to start cranking out some tunes?
Well, I had always been a music fan just growing up. My dad played guitar a little bit, so like there was a guitar in the house. Yeah, just listening to the radio, always had a huge emotional connection to just hearing things. I grew up in the church a lot, and music is a big part of that sometimes, where it just, you form a emotional connection with these things that are totally kind of personal. So when I started kind of getting into my own music taste, like I found Blink-182 and Green Day and such. Really wanted to just start a band, do the whole recording, touring, playing out. It seemed very alluring.
Well, you dove right into it. I mean, you started off in a couple different groups. You started with one called Spooky Poo, and then you got into a little project called Gadget. And both of those bands released a good amount of music, and you were out on the road quite a bit. How did your time with these bands kind of prepare you, I guess, in your transition to being Marble Teeth and being on your own?
I think Gadget had been a band that was like a couple dudes I was going to high school with, that kind of same story as me, I guess. Like we all kind of were getting into the same bands, like a lot of the Chicago pop punk stuff coming out in like the early 2010s, Real Friends and Knuckle Puck and that type of stuff. We were bonding over that. So we started just jamming, learning a lot of covers at the beginning, like trying to write, but just kind of being young and not knowing how to cross the finish line on just like finishing something and recording it. So then I did like a couple home things by myself and put it out as Spooky Poo. And then I think my friend joined that, and we kind of became a little more of a Front Bottoms ripoff thing. It was like keyboard and acoustic guitar. And then Gadget recorded an EP like the summer after we graduated high school, maybe. And we did a couple like trips playing those songs. And that was just a blast, like being just with your friends and like kind of figuring out the ropes of like what works and what doesn't when you're traveling around. And I think both of those, it was just like we all graduated and everybody was kind of doing their different things college wise and stuff. And I kind of leaned just into the music a little more and started, just figuring out what I could do myself. Like a lot of the early stuff is totally, I play everything on it. I recorded it all just at my house, or like started on an iPad, and then I'm doing it just on a MacBook now on GarageBand, to like doing all the merch and album covers. And it's a pretty much blanket statement just for all of my creative output now, rather than I have a full band lineup I play with too, but it's nice. Like I'll do the solo sets as well. So if I get contacted about a show, I can just say yes without having to ask anybody pretty much. And then it's like figuring out if I'm going to do it myself or bring the band or what the situation calls for maybe.
You got the infinite money glitch there by having just a band kind of on standby and you just having the full capabilities of doing it all on your own. And both shows I've heard are really incredible. Just your music, hearing your vocals, at least, even if it's more stripped back with just you and your acoustic. You go through all these groups and then you guys go your separate ways. You start out as Marble Teeth officially in 2017. And you kind of said how it was just kind of a necessity almost because everyone kind of went their own separate ways. You started doing your own thing. As you kind of fell into yourself as Marble Teeth, like what did you know what kind of route you wanted to go musically, or was that just more something that has come with time?
Definitely come with time. I mean, at the beginning, like you said, it was necessity. Like we graduated, we did like a ton of shows that summer. We did a tour that winter, and then we did a tour like the next summer. And then they were going to school, and I had dropped out of school the year before, or like was soon to drop out of school, I guess that would have been. So the next coming summer, I was like, well, I want to tour again. Or it was next coming fall because they would have been in school. I want to tour again. They can't do it. I'm just going to, I had some songs that I was writing that weren't necessarily like, I hadn't given them to a band yet. So they were kind of just mine. So yeah, I just started something new to be able to travel and keep playing. And it was acoustic and singing because that's all I had. It was like, no one else to play with. I'll just play acoustic, I guess. And it's gone through phases for sure of that kind of figuring out what is possible with one person, I guess, or just the different iterations that can take. The first iteration of that would have been the acoustic, full acoustic. I did fall of 2017, a trip, and then pretty consistently until summer of 2018, I made an album that was a little more flushed out instrumentation wise. I like drums and bass and the such. And I wanted to be able to honor that a little more live. So I mixed it all myself. So I just made a mix that was no vocals and no guitar, made a playlist, burnt them all onto a CD, and then brought this little boombox with me and would play usually micless just kind of in the corner of the venue. If I was playing somewhere with a stage, I wouldn't necessarily use the stage generally just because it's like a much smaller sound. I didn't have drums to mic up. It's like me playing and I can sing loud enough that I'm louder than the boombox, and then I did that for probably a full year, maybe a year and a half of just like trips every often as I could. And then just like playing around locally. And then it was probably, I guess, yeah, just the next summer of 2018, I think that fall, I did a similar thing, but burnt them onto a VHS tape. So I had videos I had ripped off YouTube and stuff and kind of made like a little show. I think I just found that tape actually, or yeah. Because, well, the problem with that one ended up being is I was playing the same set list every night, and it was almost like I was like a robot. I had like, because of the little quirks in the video, I'd have these little jokes, I guess, and I just like would have to do the same banter every time. I had like 45 seconds in between each song where it's like there's a little timer going, and I'm like, all right, when the next one starts, we're going no matter, or I have to pause the tape. So I did that one for 2 tours, I think. And these are like week and a half tops, usually. I think 3 weeks in the fall of 2018, right when I did that TV. It was the longest I did. And then from there, I combined the CD and the VHS and I did a DVD. So now I've got a main menu. I can scroll and choose the songs. I've got a back catalog. I don't have to play every single one every time. I've got some on there that I don't ever play, but it's just nice to have it on there in case I'm playing for a long time, I guess. But sorry, that was a long-winded answer, but yeah, that's kind of been the evolution of just when you're one person, there's only so much you can do. So what can you make to kind of fill in those gaps?
And your creativity is something that is so unique to you as an artist. Like, as I'm looking through all this stuff, like, I've had a conversation with you before because you offer to make merch for other artists and bands and stuff. And, you go through your page and you offer up like a ton of different merchandise that's like all one of one type of stuff. How would you say that the merch, like factors in your artistry and helps you express yourself as an artist. Like, obviously it's a big part of it. I mean, you just listed 3 different types of media, like had a CD, had a VHS, and a DVD, and you're just kind of doing it all on your own. So
I mean, it's very much a passion project, and just that anything creative I'm interested in, I'll generally find a way to incorporate it under the Marble Teeth umbrella. Like, I've always loved just thrifting and t-shirts and stuff, so I had a large collection of my own, and honestly, a lot of the early ones I was doing were like just ones from my closet where I was like, all right, this does not actually fit me or something. I'm just like slapping something on it and getting rid of it. That I could tell the whole evolution of that as well, probably from the beginning.
yeah,
That first tour I did, I had CDs that I burned myself and patches that I very crudely kind of screen printed. They didn't look very good, but and then stickers from stickerguy.com. That's been a consistent. I always have some of those. I don't print those myself, but I'll usually make the design that's on them. But great website, good deals. Sign up for the monthly email list, and there's every month they have a color combination that's on sale. That's usually the one that I will get. So started out with that, went on to vinyl pressed thrifted stuff. So I worked at a sports store doing like jerseys and stuff like that. So we had like an industrial sized cricket basically. So I would bring in my thrifted stuff and just kind of cut stuff out on there and make as many as I could before a trip and throw them in a big tote and just like slide that out on the floor and be like, all right, dig through here. And if you find something, just pay what you can. Like literally pay what you want. I sold stuff for $40 sometimes. If people were feeling really nice, I'd sold stuff for a handful of change a couple times. So then from there, I kind of started doing the same thing, but I would hang it on a little rack. I brought a little pop-up rack that I got at Target and I would bring it and hang on that. And sales like tripled that tour, I think, literally just not having them in a tote on the floor, like for people to dig through like animals. So that was like the first thing where I was like, whoa, this is like, I could see how people get really into business or whatever, the like marketing major guys. It's like changing a variable will change the outcome. So a lot of that just kind of started leveling up my like the time invested in each piece sometimes. And then started screen printing, like kind of figuring that out on my own as well, just making stencils and stuff. And that is higher quality than the pressed vinyl for sure. The vinyl press shirts. Just I like the look of it better, and it seems to hold up over time. Kind of ages more gracefully. So I've been doing a lot of that recently. I don't really do much vinyl. Still make some jerseys here and there. Lots of screen printing. I've tried just like sewing and stuff on the sewing machine. There have been pieces that you'll see on the Instagram. If there's like a run of something, I have like commissioned a few things out. I just got some embroidered hats from a place in Morton like last fall, and I was real proud of those. It's fun to like make it all yourself, but then there's some things that I could have never produced that product. So it's fun to just invest a little bit and be like, all right, I'll get like 50 of these and probably sit on some for a while, but they look sweet.
That's what's important, is as long as it looks sweet.
Yeah, I mean, and stuff like that, when I order it, I'm like, I always keep a couple for myself for sure. Because in the early days, I was bad about doing that, or I just like have none of those early shirts that I made. I've been trying to make a little more effort to just like archive some stuff and be like, all right, taking 10 of these stickers and just like putting them in this box, and maybe 20 years from now, I'll find something to put it on.
Open the box and that's a time capsule for you.
Yeah. Just like kind of, I'm like, all right, I remember when I ordered those. I remember when I made that. Yeah, it's like a scrapbook. I just need to scrapbook it, I guess. It's just in another tote.
I can't. The image that's in my head right now is these fans at these shows are just clawing through a bin.
It definitely. There was a couple where people, not like, yeah, I get the image, but yeah, like it was because of that I was like, all right, they're like on their knees on the ground, like you can't really. It's like hard to you miss one because it's all tucked down in the corner or something. So yeah, it's fun to just change up things like that. And I mean, I'm really proud of the stuff that I do. It's fun to screen print. That's a very like satisfying process to have a shirt and pull it across. And just doing it on the thrifted stuff is even more fun because every once in a while, just like a fun color combination that you only do one of, or doing one and then you're like, well, that you can't really see that color. I messed that one up. Just the ins and outs of that. And then now I've got like the pay what you can bin has become more of a misprints box because I feel like the quality has gone up. So I have an asking price generally now. If you're strapped, I'll work with you, but there will always be a pay what you can bin.
I'm glad we got to touch on that side of your artistry, but to kind of bring it back to music, as Marble Teeth, you have put out a whopping 17 projects since 2017. That's albums, EPs, singles. It's all on your Bandcamp page, which is a crazy amount in, I don't think it's that long of a time, but like you're constantly working. It seems like is that just how it goes? You're just constantly writing songs, and when you are like, what does that creative process look like?
I guess it is. I feel like I go in phases where once I finish something, there's usually a little break kind of after that of like recording at least. The writing has definitely slowed down. I mean, there was a couple years, I guess I did a lot. So I kind of have just like the drunk drawers full still of stuff I'm still kind of piecing together that like could have made an album, maybe not 2017, but 2020 that I like still kind of stand by them. I guess I just never got around to using them. So I'll always have like the stuff I'm tinkering with. Doing it all myself is definitely the jumping the barrier to entry there, I guess, because I'm not working on anybody else's time. Where I have there's one thing, the terrible incline. I said it a terrible incline. I said feeling terrible inside EP was recorded in Indianapolis with my friend JT, who was it was like for a project for school, like had studio time at the school. So that is the exception to that. And that was definitely a fun experience, but that was after I had been recording at home for a while and I've recorded at home since then. And I definitely prefer that where it's like I'll try stuff out, delete it. I'll take like 50 takes of everything just because I want to like not just play it right, but kind of give it a little character, I guess. I'm always like looking for that one take that when you hit it, you kind of know. So yeah, just not having to wait around and then I can just unplug and go eat lunch or something. I'm not in like a sterile environment. It's just my house, which can be a blessing or a curse, I guess. Stay up too late doing it or neglect doing it because there's not like a fun place to go and we're all getting together and like staying in a hotel or whatever wherever you stay at the studio. That is something I would like to do more of the future. I've been collabing a little more recently than I necessarily have before. There's a couple players on the new EP I got cooking. Some have appeared very briefly. Jacob, who has played in the live band for a long time, played a violin part on a song at the end of the Top 10 Times I Cried album. And he's on the new stuff playing fiddle and mandolin, which he plays in the live band now.
You've kind of got a good setup. I think for me, it's refreshing to see like just how you're operating on your own timeline. Like you're not the great thing about you having your own place to record is that you're free to work at your own pace and you don't have to feel like you got to rush to do anything. I'm sure that's always good for, well, stress for one, and then like just you don't get burnt out on music because it's something that's still fun for you. It seems like.
Yeah, it's definitely not like I'm not. And honestly, if I was spending money to be in a studio, I would be freaking out the whole time because I'm so just like weird about money sometimes where I'm like, I have to do it. And like, we can't take another day. No, I can't like afford to spend another day on this. So we'll just like send it out. Where, yeah, at home, it's like, I'm looking forward to it when I know I'm going to have an afternoon off. And it's like, all right, I've been wanting to start on this thing and now I've got some time. And then once I get going on it, it's yeah, way easier to find the little moments where I can just sit down and mix something for 15 minutes or try something new. Yeah, I'll always exporting mixes to my phone and listening to it in the car and the iPhone speaker and the headphones test and all this stuff just to give it some context.
Do you go through phases where it's like when you find that little bit of time and you go in and do you get hyper fixated on it where you're like, oh shit, I'm going to lose a whole day because I want to really work through this? Or are you able to compartmentalize that with just what time you have available?
Depends on what activities are calling, I guess. Like there are definitely things where I'm like, all right, folding the laundry tomorrow because I'm working on this now, or the chores are piling up. But I've not missed any obligations, I don't think. For definitely been like checking the clock, like, all right, I have to go now, but can be a time sucker for sure.
I want to talk to you about your latest release, which was a single called Power Bill Blues, which was an awesome track. Like it sounds a bit different to me, at least from your previous stuff, because it really encapsulates like that bluesy feeling, and it also like I felt like aspects of like country music kind of got pulled into it as well. It was just like a really good listening experience. Like I wanted to go out to my car and listen to it with the windows down because it was just one of those kinds of tracks. But how did that kind of come about, and with this combination of genres, like your old style and incorporating these new elements to it?
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of a change of taste for me over the past. I mean, even back to 2018, I was getting really into like Bob Dylan and just kind of branched out from there. He's got fingers and a lot of influences for different people, and he pulls from a lot of different things. So I kind of like just started there and split and went forward and listened to all of his stuff and everybody that lists him as a reference pretty much, and started going back and all the songs he's covered, and just like, I mean, the anthology of American folk music is a really great place to start. There's a Smithsonian like compilation of just like field recordings these people would go out and do of people who don't have a recording contract. It's just like a guy playing at his house, and that sound like just captured me, and I have been listening to a lot of stuff like that recently, just over the past couple of years. So yeah, and if you've seen the live band recently in the past year, I guess we're leaning a little more that way, where Jacob, who used to play bass, is playing strings, mandolin, violin. I'm doing a little more finger picking on the guitar. So that one actually is Power Bill Blues is a redo of a song called Hair Off the Dog, which is on a release called 8 More that I did a couple years ago. And that one's a little more garage rocky, I guess. Has some vocal effects on it and stuff. So it's kind of, yeah, garage rock, I guess, would just be the simple term I'd put it under. But that one was like one that people seemed to like, but didn't really sound right when I was playing it by myself, like in that style. So there was a version that I kind of started playing when I was traveling solo again, just playing acoustic, playing harmonica on it. And that's like, so when I had played harmonica before, I always just knew to use the key that you're in. So it's like you're playing in G, you use your G harmonica. They're all labeled. I have a little case of them. And then a trick I picked up from Bob Dylan is, I mean, and he did not invent this, but that's the first place. It's really like synonymous with his sound, kind of, is using, I don't know the theory to explain what it is, but if you're in G, you use the C. If you're in A, you use the, I guess that'd be D. If you're in E, you use the A. And it, instead of blowing out to get your root note, you suck in instead, and that it gives it a much, you have like a different scale to play with. So that's kind of where the blues sound truly comes from, is that harmonica trick, kind of. But just change of tastes for me, different things I'm interested in. And then it goes back to that necessity thing again of I'm playing this song that is it's the top Spotify song right now, so I feel like I should be playing it, but it doesn't feel right for me to just like play it in the style that it's recorded, I guess. And that's something Bob Dylan does a ton of too, where he's got the song and then he's playing it live and kind of turns it on its head. And it's not till he hits the second chorus that you're like, oh, that's what this song is. Like, it's completely unrecognizable for a little bit. But then, yeah, he hits that motif, the hook or whatever that thing is. And yeah, I got very into it. So we've got a couple other ones that we're playing live actually that are from top 10 or before that don't really sound like they do on the recording.
Power Bill Blues is part of a bigger project, and you sent it to me a little early. I texted you back, and I was like, this really started my day off really nice. It just like picked me up as I was driving to work.
Don't feel like you're giving anything away. You don't have to mince your words.
Okay.
No spoilers are cool. I'm sending not to make you feel like you're not special, but I've sent it around a little bit. I'm trying to get, that's how I'm trying to get the interviews. I'm like, I'll show it to you. You can hear it.
I'm sure people bid on that. But yeah, so it's part of this this bigger project that you have. Is called There Was a Huge Crowd of People Gathered in the Street. And you just said spoiler, so spoil whatever you want to spoil to the people. But what can you tell us about the project? I will say it has the Power Bill blues vibe, so that bluesy country feeling. It's like very consistent throughout the whole project, and the intro story, I had to go back to it again because I was like, what is this like really saying here? So feel free to talk about anything on this project because it's a good project.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad you dug it. It definitely, yeah, I mean, I chose that one for the single just because they're all kind of sound like that. I learned like a couple guitar tricks in my finger picking journey, and they all kind of use the same thing. So they're a little grouped together in my mind. Really labored over top 10, honestly, the last album. Like long time changing the track list, swapping songs, not even swapping, just like swapping the order and re-recording stuff. And I think it paid off because I think I listened back to that today actually, and I think it sounds great, but I spent so much time doing that, and I'm gonna try and do a little more of like EP bursts, like just putting stuff out kind of fast and just writing I wasn't writing a lot during that time just because it was like I'm working on recording these songs, and I think if I can write them and record it maybe within the week or something and just kind of move on from it, that would be a little more what I'm trying to accomplish now. Like I'm not going to get it studio quality in my basement, or I recorded this most recent one in the garage because it was pretty nice out the past couple months when I was working on this. So yeah, embrace the imperfections that come along with not having nice compressors or anything. There's road noise, there's like birds singing in the background, and the story, I mean, I could talk to you forever about that. I would love to hear what you thought, I guess, or your interpretation, I guess, to go back, if you went back to understand what it really means. I wrote that a couple of years ago. I did like kind of a collection of short stories. That's another medium in the umbrella of just like stuff I would try and hawk on tour to make gas money. I like had written a couple short stories, just like stream of consciousness on a typewriter, like a couple years before that. So I kind of picked the best ones out and photocopied them, made a little zine with it. And that was the one I was definitely the proudest of. Like I wrote that, and then I was like, I need to just like try and write more, because this, like, I would read it and just like cry at the end every time. Like, I don't know. So there's your spoiler. It's just like a short story that's very meaningful to me. And then I got my neighbor Tim to read it. Actually, he's been a sweet dude that I've been getting to know and helping out with gardening. He's teaching me about gardening. Yeah, I mean, it's just the scene. I tried to create an audio drama. That's the biggest spoiler I can give. Is it's like a movie for your ears. Is a review I got.
It is. Tim's voice is very nice. It's just like if you're listening to an audiobook or a podcast, like that's the voice that will like always keep you like grabbed as you're listening. So Tim's voice added to it.
I'm so glad you think that. There's a version out there that's like my voice just pitched down reading it, and I was having trouble resonating with that. It was giving witness protection program.
Easy music video for you though. You just like put the black over your face.
The documentary film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like actually put an ad out on Facebook Marketplace and was like trying to hire a voice actor, and no one replied to it at all. So I was like, just like every night, me and my girlfriend Shauna, who is playing drums in the band right now, actually, we're just like naming off people, like this person, this person, that. Like I'm trying to just like think of the perfect person. Then me and Tim start talking a little more. Like he lives across the street, so very interesting dude. Like he just tells me stories about his life, and it means a lot to me. Listening to people talk can do so much for you. And he was like really supportive of the music thing. He actually taught Jacob, my strings player, in high school. He taught him biology. So when he saw Jacob over here one time we were practicing, that's when we were like really started talking. We told him about the band and everything. Thought it's really cool. We travel around and just kind of do this in as much free time as we can make for it. It's just, it has been very encouraging about that since he found out, kind of. So I was like, Tim, if you're interested, I would love you to read this thing. He did a couple takes of it, and I went with the last one. It's so good. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a great start. Like at first, like I didn't know how long it was going to be, but it wasn't like something where I was like, oh God, like let me just listen to music now. But it was just kept me so enthralled in the story. Like I was like, where's this going to go? And it's good. I can't wait for everyone to hear it. It's going to be
Me
sweet.
too, honestly. That's like what I'm most excited for. And I would love to do more stuff like that. I mean, if anyone, once you hear it, if you've got ideas or you have like things you would like put to score like that, I that is something I'm definitely very interested in. Like, would love to do more of that. I don't necessarily think I have any stories that I've written that like there's something in it that like I have the picture. Like this one, it's like you could just read the story and you could kind of imagine it, but then I just like did what I was imagining. And yeah, I mean, it's just that crowd, the huge crowd of people. That's the opening line. So I was trying to, and then with the songs, kind of a little more sloppy, loose. I'm not EQing every instrument for 30 minutes anymore. Like in my opinion, it sounds a little more like live, like kind of barroom band. Like it's somebody set their phone down and recorded us playing, like from the back of their room, rather than like all the instruments are super clear. Like I definitely want to make it sound good still, but there's some like a lot of the times when I'm trying to find new music, the stuff that I don't enjoy is because I'm like, this is just like too clean. Like it sounds too good. I've said that, like this just sounds too good. I can't like resonate with this really.
Like you said, it's that the character that you can get from the album, and then Powerhouse Blues, like it's the imperfections that make it what it is. And hearing that, like, because I'm a fan of some country stuff, some like slowed down, like Coulter Wall, I think does a good job of it. That's like way west, not necessarily folk, but the way that it's recorded really reminded me of that, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm excited for people to listen and get the same feeling, hopefully, from it as I did.
Thank you for checking it out. Thanks for having me on this too. It's yeah, I want people to hear it. That's why it was like trying to get stuff like this going, just to be like, this one like sounds good. I like how I like where this one's going. And it honestly, the one you got it'll be different once it's on streaming. Like that's the working mix you got. So there might be a couple more instruments in there by the time it hits Spotify or Bandcamp in a couple weeks. I said July 4th. Generally in the past, because of the home recording, not doing it on a label or anything, it's like the day I export it from GarageBand is the day that I plug it into Bandcamp and like start uploading everything. Like I'm so bad at being like, my album is coming out in 3 months and here's the single and pre-order this. And like I had never really done that before. So I tried to get ahead of this one a little bit just for, I mean, again, I'm like proud of these, so I want to give it the best chance on the algorithms and stuff. I think pre-saving singles is a way to do that. I hope. That's why I got another one that's coming out in probably 2 weeks. It'll be like a couple weeks before it comes out. I have one other single that really fits that vibe. So this, and it's because it's literally not done. That's, I was like, I was like, well, I'll just finish one of the songs and then put it out, and then just like finish the rest of them while incubating a little bit. Just because, I cannot do that whole like send it off to get mastered and wait like a month, and then I'd rather just move on.
Good mindset to have. Different, but it's good. Like
it's like
get it out.
If you're not on like Warner Brothers, like I don't think anyone's gonna be like, this doesn't really sound good enough. Like the sound quality is why I don't enjoy this. And if I don't know, someone thought that would be valid, maybe. I don't know where I was going with that.
I know. I mean, as we've talked, I mean, you're a veteran at this stuff, man. You've been doing it for so long, and you've gotten the chance to do a lot of really cool stuff. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out and kind of in your same boat? What would you tell them?
My biggest piece of advice generally is just so vague and heady, maybe, but just like do it. Like make some stuff and put it out and see if that's a process you enjoy. The next one will be better. Like you'll literally, if you spend 7 years working on something, eventually at some point you'll probably look back at it and there will be parts of it that you don't like. It's like, it may be even more because you've given it so much time. I don't know. Like, I think that the best practice you can get is just playing crappy shows, playing every show you get offered, like making opportunity for yourself if that's not an option. Like Decatur, not a ton of like local young bands going on. There you can find that, and there are people doing it. But especially when I was like right out of high school, it was like our friends that were coming out to the shows and stuff. So it felt like we were kind of starting from scratch a little bit. But I've been blessed to have a pretty consistent. I get booked in Bloomington and Champaign and Peoria, St. Louis and Chicago and stuff, like pretty consistently without me like reaching out to set up the shows. This is just like people, like I've played enough and for long enough time that I'm in enough contact books, I guess, that I'm a guy that people hit up. So I'll book like the tours when I do those, but I'm not generally like setting up any of these shows that I'm playing. And I play like 7 shows a month sometimes. And that's just like, yeah, people just like hitting me up for this stuff. So doing that, I mean, I'm saying I'm blessed to have that, but there wasn't anything I did other than record music on my computer, put it on the internet, and getting your foot in the door is going to shows, meeting the people at the shows. Hey, who books here? Like, what? I have a band. What? Like, if you ever need somebody, hit me up. Meeting people is a great first step for the show going. Just like find some shows and go to them. Sometimes they're far away. Like I definitely started. Champaign was like where the first local bands I saw were. And like, if you get opportunities to work with people, don't be scared of that. But I think it's very important to just have the ability to record something and release it and feel confident in that process, kind of just like, well, this is like the best I can make it, and I think it sounds really good, and I trust my taste a little bit. And I mean, and it'll compound on itself, because when people tell you they like it, then you're like, all right, yeah, this is good. Like, you're not sitting there listening to your same demo over and over, like second guessing yourself. It's their first time hearing it, like, and their chances are they're not going to listen to it as many times as you do. Like, I listen to stuff before I put it out, like a lot still, but I can't imagine just like sitting on a song that in your mind is done. You're just like, I'm not going to put it out because I don't know why. Unless you like don't stand by it, you're like, this isn't good, I guess. But put some out there and see what happens.
The most important thing is if you're doing it, as long as you like it, that's what matters.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you are not feeling fulfilled in it, then it's not going to give you anything anyway. And yeah, just working on it is definitely where I find the joy. Just like the process of putting it out and having people hear it, no matter who it is or how little people. And definitely, I mean, like playing it seems so similar, but it's totally a different thing too. I mean, I get so much out of that, like getting to share and getting to hear people's just response to what they're getting out of it, I guess. And that's, yeah, that story, I'm just so excited to share that, because that, I guess a lot of the early music I was writing too was very like emo adjacent, and the like things that you're writing about. And I'll probably still always have that in my blood, where I can't help but write about my feelings a little bit, but I'm trying to frame it in a little more subjective sense, and like maybe taking my emotions and processing them into something that's like, here's a story or a scenario, like what would you do, or like imagine this is you, and trying to just make it a little more meaningful than like I'm sad or I love my girlfriend.
Keep it simple. Well, I typically ask this one question, and I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, like you've been playing out in Central Illinois, especially, like you don't even have to ask. As you've kind of played out, I don't know if you're listening to a ton of people in the scene, but do you have a current favorite artist or band that plays out and that you typically listen to?
I'm gonna just have to go through a list, to be honest, because the blessing
That's
about
fine.
getting to play a ton of shows is like there's just great people everywhere, and that's the hard part about it too, where it's like these are people I feel like are my friends, but I see them at shows every couple months, and it's like these are people I love. Brian Toohey from Bloomington, his new band is Wide Orbit, but he's done a couple projects. He actually has he's one of the people I collabed with a little bit. He threw a guitar solo over one of the tracks on It'll be the next single, When the Water Broke the Dam. He's just a great musician, like someone I love watching them play. Like it's fun just seeing people who are great. Gray Slush out of Peoria and the like adjacent bands to that. Toradoria is TJ's solo project, and Silly Old Bear is Jacob and their bass player. I'm blanking on his name right now. Yeah, those like great dudes making their own music as well. They do a lot of it themselves. Jacob's working on the new Emily Howe album. That's always someone I love seeing play. Like so many emotions in those songs. The Public, this group out of St. Louis, and they have some adjacent bands to them as well. But first time I ever played St. Louis, I looked up hashtag St. Louis music on Instagram, and they were like the coolest looking dudes on that I could find, and like they were playing houses and stuff. So I hit them up, and they hooked me up, and they've been hooking me up down there ever since. And they're just like a great live band, just so good. Dana Scully from Indianapolis, who's actually passing through and playing in Peoria with me. That was one I had to ask about. That was one I've kind of had a hand in setting up around here. July 8th, we're playing up in Peoria, if this is out before then. Just amazing songwriter. I've gotten to travel with them a little bit over the past couple of years. Just like good hang, nice person. Really great songs. They used to have a band, Dana Scully and the Tiger Sharks. They're doing a little more of the solo thing right now as well. Carter Ward out of Chicago. The first time I tried to play Indianapolis, I was kind of setting up with him, but it was just a funny situation kind of, and it didn't really come about. But his songs were so good that I kept trying. And he moved up to Chicago and gotten just like touch with good people up there, and he's got a full band now, and he records all his own stuff mostly, and plays out just like amazing songs as well. Riddle M was a Decatur friend. I played drums in his live band for a while. Just like, if you think I'm prolific, go look at his Bandcamp. Looking back on it, I guess I have been like, I've done a decent amount compared to some people, but it's like I know people like him, and it's like I feel like I'm not putting that much out because he's doing like 2 full-length albums a year.
Oh, geez.
Sometimes, or just like random singles and stuff, and some of it like stuff that it will just be like on a tape, like it's not online, or it'll make its way online eventually, but he's just like making a lot of stuff too. And our early years were very intertwined, definitely, where he played in a couple of iterations of my band, and I played drums for his band for a long time. And we traveled a lot, played a lot of shows together in town. We were like the 2 young guys doing the solo project, so we'd book our friends. Oh man, I feel like I'm gonna forget so many people. Sorry, everybody. Kenyon DeSachier. You're not gonna like be able to find this music anywhere. If this interests you, message me and I'll like get you the link. Dude that I used to play with, he played in an iteration of the bands. He played some keyboard. So like amazing musician, crazy writer, does all kinds of stuff. The soundscape thing I kind of like borrowed from a song of his. He had one that was just like a conversation between a lady and her waiter at a restaurant, and it's just like, yeah, at the end you're like, what kind of was the point of that? And then you're like, what was the point of that? You kind of like get to assign your own meaning to it. It's I could go on and on about his catalog, because that's like was very impactful on me, and he was incredibly prolific as well. Doesn't do too much anymore. Haven't talked to him in a minute. He kind of anti-technology sometimes, I think, so harder to keep up. Don't want to put words in his mouth, I guess. I haven't. Kenyon, reach out if you're listening. I'd love to see you again.
Well, Caleb, that was our last question, man. Oh shit! I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was gonna say I'll have to cut it off there because my mind is racing and I'm not latching onto anything. But Social Sig from Milwaukee. None of these are like super local to me. Milwaukee, dude, I met a number of years ago. Parker, doing the like solo band, full band hybrid kind of. It's like his project. He takes people on the road. He tours solo. Yeah, I gotten to play a couple shows with him. Just like great dude, insane work ethic. He's always on the road, always announcing another tour. Yeah, lots of great music out there. I mean, Central Illinois, we're very blessed with like all these towns that are super close together, college towns, where it's like kind of an ever-changing cast of all-star bands getting set up and not playing for near enough years.
very rich in talent, and there's always people coming because there's always colleges, so there's always going to be a new crop.
Yeah, it's like cool to see the people who just are like the little older crowd in each. I'm definitely getting more hip to that now as I'm like not college aged anymore. Those are the people I feel a little more connected to, I guess, when I'm like in those like a house show situation. I definitely have been feeling a little old sometimes, but yeah, who's like the townie and who's the new band of freshmen that are like all just insane from none of them knew each other before a couple months ago, and now they're making great tunes.
Sick. It's awesome, man. It really is. It's really cool to have someone that's been in the scene for this long and still doing it and happy to do it and putting out high quality tunes. So I appreciate you, Caleb, for coming on here and sitting down with me and talking about it and walking through the past 10 years or so.
Yeah, a little trip down memory lane.
Be sure to keep up with Caleb and Marble Teeth on Instagram at marble__teeth. It's 2 underscores. Don't forget. You can also follow him on YouTube at Marble Teeth 217. You can also find all of his music on streaming platforms and his Bandcamp page. All those links are going to be in the show notes. So just scroll on down there. You can just click on them. Real easy for you. And be sure to listen to Power Bill Blues. It's awesome. It's get into the summer feel, man. That's really what it's all about. But just like that, that's our show. You've been hanging out with Clubhouse Chronicles, where the sounds are hot, the stories are hotter, and the vibes absolutely off the charts. Don't forget, hit us up at our new spot at Club Chron Pod for all the updates, news, and more on this podcast. For Broken Record Music Club related things, we are on all socials at Broken Record Music Club. You can check out our artists and all the cool things we're up to. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Really appreciate it. We are still uploading the podcast to that channel, so we appreciate you sticking with us and watching us. Even though there's not a whole lot of you, we appreciate all of you. While you're there, maybe hit the subscribe, maybe like the video. It helps push our videos out there to let people know about awesome cats like Caleb and all the cool music he's releasing under Marble Teeth. So if you can do that, that'd be great. But until next time, keep it loud, keep it proud, and remember, Central Illinois is where the music magic happens. Peace.